Why did Justin Bieber get banned from Disneyland?
How can you eat for free at the happiest place on earth?
How many dead bodies are there in the Haunted Mansion?
And which attraction was made using the help of Nazi scientists?
Hello everyone, welcome to Everything You Didn't Need to Know About. Today we are talking everything you didn't need to know about the happiest place on earth, the capital of Syria, Damascus. Now, that's not true. We are of course talking about Disneyland, the original, opened in 1955 in Anaheim, California. I'm very excited about this. We are going to be pitching our favorite facts to each other. At the end of the show, we'll be picking which fact was our favorite, and that person will win the honor of being the greatest person to have ever lived. Let's start. Who wants to kick us off?
I will, given that I'm talking about Nazi scientists.
What a way to start. Great way to start.
With Godwin's Law.
So my fact is that Disneyland Tomorrowland was made using the help of, made using as the key scientific advisors, two Nazi scientists, Werner von Braun and Heinz Haber, who were Werner von Braun is pretty well known for being kind of king of rockets, inventor of the V2 and the Saturn V. So one designed to kill Americans and one designed to fling them at the moon at high speeds. And Heinz Haber was a physicist and was in the Luftwaffe. So they both developed Tomorrowland, or helped to develop Tomorrowland, which is hilarious to me.
This is 1955 as well. Like the war had finished.
It was over.
Very recently.
Fairly recently. Oh, I've done World War II. What should I go next? Oh, I know. Let's go do some Disneyland.
I don't know which I like better. The idea that Walt Disney went, oh gosh, I need some new stuff. Those Nazi scientists aren't doing much. I should just ring around and see if they've got any ideas. Or if two guys were like, oh, well, we're on the run from Germany. I guess we should get a job. Maybe Disneyland's hiring.
I hear that California is nice all times of year.
I hear that anti-Semitism is quite fun at Disneyland. Walt was quite into that.
Didn't Albert Einstein retire to California?
Oh, that's why they did it.
Yeah, he retired to like a beach house in California, I believe.
Oh, lovely.
What I really love about the fact is that when you look at like anything about Werner von Braun, like you look up the NASA website, they're like, Werner worked in Germany von Braun worked in Germany making the famous V2 rocket, not mentioning, of course, that he was a card-carrying Nazi, and that the main reason he joined the Nazi party was so that he could, not that he liked the genocide and things, but that he wanted to make rockets. But like, look at the page, no mention of Nazis. It's hilarious.
There's another Nazi Disneyland connection as well, because Walt Disney and the whole Disney company made propaganda videos against against the Nazis. During World War II.
Also, anti-STD propaganda videos.
Yes,
well, that's good.
Yeah,
teaching
servicemen how to strap Jimmy to keep themselves safe.
Mickey Mouse has a cartoon explaining how menstruation works, so that's quite good.
Why did we not watch that at my high school? It would have been more educational than whatever we got taught.
I think they banned it.
Yeah, when you say they banned it, do you mean schools banned it or the Disney company, like Song of the South? They looked back at it and they were like, oh
my gosh, Song of the South. Have you guys seen it?
Never.
Yes.
I've seen some clips.
It's poor. And the fact that they made Splash Mountain a great ride based on that movie that no one ever did. Pocahontas had just come out and they have a scene in their song where Pocahontas does that. She rides down a waterfall and they were like, oh no, we won't use that. We'll go back to this.
Which was racist even when they made Splash Mountain. Like it was unacceptably racist. Yeah. But then they got called out for some stuff and they just literally reskinned the characters. So you could make an argument that some of the characters on Splash Mountain are wearing unblackface.
Yeah. The animatronics on Splash Mountain were from another ride called America Sings that was in Tomorrowland. They just took all the old robots, put them in there, and now they're going to redo Splash Mountain and make it a Princess and the Frog ride. Oh, lovely.
After what Tom's told us about who was responsible for Tomorrowland, I'm a bit worried about what those robots were originally doing. I can't recall Splash Mountain. Was there any signalling involved? Or maybe the 1,000-year ice just was about 10 years too early and they were referring to Disneyland instead. So Dumbo was going to be the mammal of the year for 1941. But then something happened on a day that will live forever in infamy.
Oh,
And they had Time magazine changed it slightly at the last minute.
yeah. Good call. Wow. Did you know on the Haunted Mansion there is a bullet hole in the glass that they used to do the Hip Pepper's ghost effects, and rather than take up this massive pane of glass, they decided to just redesign the bullet hole to look like a spider's web.
Yeah, I quite like Disneyland invented its own paint. It's got the two paints. It's got like invisible blue and
Go Away
Don't
Green.
See Me Green. Yeah.
Don't see him. Did you know on Mr. Toad's Wild Ride you go to hell?
Yes, that's so disturbing. I had
great.
nightmares about that for a long time.
Did you guys know that there are hidden Mickeys everywhere throughout Disneyland? Little hidden symbols that look like I'm very conveniently wearing a Disneyland top. They look like that. And they're hidden everywhere on every ride. There's one at the top of Splash Mountain, as just before you go down the drop. It's hidden in the roof. It's like some stains on the roof. It's very clever, very fun to find if you're there.
I know this because I went to Disneyland with Sam, and when he says fun to find, I mean excruciatingly awkward because Sam spends all of his time like he could be talking about nice things.
I discovered that all of the plants in Tomorrowland are edible.
Probably shouldn't say that. I think that's Kenny's fact.
That was Kenny's fact. So thank you, Thom, for introducing my fact. So, I mean, if you're brave enough, you can eat anything, right? But if you're brave and want something actually edible and you're starving at Disneyland and don't want to pay an extortionate fee for the food there, Thom, what was the fact?
Oh, look, I think you'll say it better than I did.
Do you guys know that the plants in Tomorrowland are edible?
I don't know about that, but I heard that you can eat all the plants in Tomorrowland.
You know how many dead bodies there are at Disneyland?
Ladies and gentlemen, Thom.
Tomorrowland has got to be the worst land at Disneyland, which is a real shame. Because when they built it back in 1955, they based it on the very futuristic year of 1986.
Yeah.
And not knowing that 31 years later, they'd get to that year and be like,
it would be the 80s.
Yeah.
And Autopia's in Tomorrowland, right?
Yes,
and
that's right.
It's a bit shit, and all the cars are not tomorrow-y. They're before.
They're retro even for the 1950s. Like, it wasn't even like they went, let's just take a modern car and like stick some ray guns on it. They're like vintage cars for the 50s. It's bizarre.
Yeah, it's because in the 50s they like suburbia had just become a thing, and so people were genuinely just getting their first cars, and actually the idea of driving a car around was quite exciting. But then that was 60 years ago.
I have done a ribbon drop run for Autopia before. But in my defense, it was at Paris Disneyland, which is the shittest of the Disneylands.
Yeah.
So, and Autopia is one of the very few rides that I like there. So,
Gina, it's called rope drop. You haven't been there at all.
sorry. Well, the last one I did was at Hong Kong Disneyland, and they had an actual ribbon, and they got kids out to cut it. It was very dramatic.
That's amazing.
But then it was really awkward because they cut the ribbon, and then we all had to sit around for another couple of minutes while Mickey and Minnie did a song, and then they just kind of stopped, and everyone was like, and then everyone just ran.
Did you guys know? Remember in The Simpsons how they sang "Baby on Board" in Homer's barbershop quartet?
Yeah.
That barbershop quartet, the singing voices were the Dapper Dans, who are the barbershop group at Disneyland. And oh look, who's an honorary member?
No way.
It's me, this guy.
How did you get that?
I sang with them when I went in 2007.
He defeated one of them in Mortal Kombat.
I was like, oi, I sing baritone. Which one of you is that? Get out. We sang My Wild Irish Rose, and it was beautiful. It's the greatest.
Was that like an audience participation bit, or did you just jump up on stage and wrestle a microphone away from them?
Just said, guys, I got this.
Wow, this kid's pretty good.
So one time I was at Disneyland, also in 2007, same trip as that. And we were walking through Frontierland and we saw a guy frantically run past us undoing his belt as he ran, going, no, 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 no. And that
I like to think
man,
his belt was trying to kill him.
that man was me. It was me.
Was there a big yes at the end? No, no, no.
He
no,
just
no.
disappeared into the distance. Then we went on Big Thunder Mountain. It was awesome.
I feel like he might have got on Big Thunder Mountain.
Exactly that. I just wanted to call back to the repurposed animatronics we mentioned before. And what my fact was going to be for this episode, before my hopes were sadly dashed by Sam telling me it's Disney World, not Disneyland, is if you look in the Hall of Presidents at the Donald Trump animatronic, it has a very strong resemblance to a certain Hillary Clinton. And I think that Disneyland possibly backed the wrong horse there. But I wasn't allowed to use that as my fact, and then my fact was stolen from me. So I would like to reclaim that as my fact for this episode. Thank you.
Yeah. You should have seen them painting John McCain's face brown when Obama won.
At least they couldn't use the Nazi robots for that, because he can't get his arm above his...
At Disneyland, it's designed so to, as you enter the park, to be like the opening of a film. Like you're there, it's kind of rating on the floor. The ground is red, like a red carpet, which then takes you down Main Street, and all the windows on the side of Main Streets have the names of all the people who have helped to make Disneyland throughout the years, all the Imagineers and Walt and
Nazis.
Nazis. I don't think they got one.
They've probably got pseudonyms. They're like, Max Steel or something.
Oh yeah.
Ludwig, not Nazi.
I know that there was a lot of work done in terms of framing things. So like there's loads of spaces around all of the parks where they've designed the architecture in such a way that as you turn into a street, like Main Street, things are framed. So the whole concept of the park is very cinematic, like the way that you see architects' drawings of things, and they say, it'll be framed by a tree and it'll be beautiful. But at Disneyland it is, because they are aggressively pruning every tree to make sure that it is beautiful.
There's an amazing tree. If you're in New Orleans Square, you can actually see over this big triangle tree, and it's there to block the view of the Matterhorn, because there aren't any snowy mountains in New Orleans, obviously. So they've done that to hide it.
Clever.
And there's a thing they do with every walkway. Every time you're in a space you're meant to walk towards something, they'll have something at the end of it to draw you along, and that thing is called a weenie.
Is that like
As opposed to a
MacGuffin, but for... Oh, so no, it's a weenus, isn't it?
Yeah, that's your weenus.
Yeah.
I just wondered if it was a plural of those.
I think Weenus sang Teenage Dirtbag, didn't they?
Sounds like something that's leading into an STD chat, doesn't it?
True. Maybe people were misunderstanding what it was for, and that's why they had to release those propaganda videos. So stop having sex with things in our park. It's bad for the
propaganda.
You're thinking of the unreleased sequel to Steamboat Willie, which was Motorboat Willie.
Calling back to something that we've talked about before, the guy who designed the castle, his name's Harper Goff. He was one of Walt Disney's mates. He also designed the edible room in Charlie and the Chocolate Factory.
When you say the edible room, you mean when they first come out to the Chocolate River and there's the massive overgrown flowers and the grass is edible?
Yes.
And they try and drown the German.
Yeah, that's right.
Oh yeah.
That's a callback.
Go forward.
Does the Chocolate River come after Big Thunder Mountain? And the guy going, no.
Did you guys know that there are 200 feral cats that live at Disneyland?
Okay, are they actually feral though?
They are. So it started. Originally, the castle was empty. There was nothing in it, and so a bunch of cats just moved into it, and which is weird because it's the home of Mickey Mouse is overrun by these cats. And then when they added a walkthrough ride to the castle, they were like, "Oh, these cats are actually helping us control the rodent population." So they kept them. They've now got homes around the place.
I know there's a few places, like big tourist spaces, where they kind of not encourage feral cats, but they allow them to be there because they do keep rodents down, and cats tend to be a lot less messy than mice and rats. And if people see a kitty cat going past, they go, "Oh, kitty!" And if people see a mouse going past, they go, "Oh!"
Which Actually, I love the idea of Mickey Mouse, like a guy in Mickey Mouse who's just screaming, running around with 1,000-feral cats attached to him.
Disney stole a lot from fairy tales, and I feel they could have done something with there was an old lady who swallowed a fly. Like, you've got the cats, so you've got to get rid of the cats now. So bring in lots of feral dogs, and then you've got to get rid of the dogs.
That order of animals is weird to me always. Like, it's a fly,
goats.
then a spider, then a
that's fine. With you so far.
then there's a mouse or a rat.
A bird to catch the
Bird
spider.
to catch the spider.
A cat to
Cat to
catch
catch the bird. Yeah.
Dog to catch a cat. All fine. Then
What?
I believe it's a goat. A goat to catch the natural
The
predator
dog.
of dog.
And a cow to catch the
Checks out.
goat. Goats do eat
What-
anything. Cows, quite famously vegetarian ruminants.
No, sorry. Is the only zoology major here. That entire song is phylogenetically and biologically correct. Cows hunt and kill goats all the time. They're natural enemies. They are like cats and dogs. In fact, we used to say it's raining goats and cows before we realized that cats and dogs made a lot more sense.
I really
suppose
don't know
if
if you're
they-
telling the truth.
I suppose if they
that-
went this way, though, they'd never be allowed to let in old ladies, which would, dent their bottom line.
Did you guys
Yeah.
know that they used to be able to buy lingerie on Main Street at Disneyland? It was a great shop called the Wizard of Bras, which works in an American accent, but not really a New Zealand one. The Wizard of Bras.
Yeah.
You can walk through all the shops at the back. It's quite a good way to, if there's a parade on
Cut
and you're
through.
leaving, you cut through around the back and then get
Escape
out.
crowds, yeah.
But why you'd leave during the parade and not sit and watch it, I don't know. Something wrong with you if you're doing
We
that.
used to use the parades to cut through to the lines, to cut through to the rides that we really wanted to get to.
Mm.
Just calling back again, Nazis and parades. There's a lot of similarities there.
Has anyone ever seen the Villains Parade?
Oh yeah.
It's so cool. You
That's
go to
great.
Disneyland during Halloween and the
Yeah.
villains take over the parade. So instead of it being the princesses and the princes and whatever, it's all the villains. And the last one I went to, which I think was Tokyo, Gaston was in the villains parade. And
Of
so he
course.
just spent his whole time hitting on random women in the audience on the parade route. It was brilliant. It was the most in character I've ever seen anyone at Disneyland.
And
And that
on
includes
the
the people
parade
encased. Yeah. Oh, he was trying to turn that literal.
That is method.
Yeah. It got to the point that one of the dancers had to like go him and be like, dude.
So Justin Bieber went to Disneyland and he was banned from the park for punching Goofy in the crotch, which is very on brand for Mr. Justin Bieber, I thought.
This is fun as well because it makes sense whether it was when he very first came to fame at the age of 11 or however old he was, or more recently when he was in his early 20s.
Yeah. Yeah.
You could tell me that story was from any point during his career, and my response
Yeah.
would
Oh
be,
yeah, that was from
yeah.
2 weeks ago.
Yeah,
Because
sounds like it.
teenagers are famously emotionally stable.
Yeah. And I've seen several small children cry when
Yeah.
unexpectedly confronted by a 7-foot
By
tall
a-
talking
I
dog.
thought you were going to say by a Justin Bieber punching them in the crotch.
But that's the whole thing. Like, it kind of sucks because isn't the whole thing about like the whole being a character at Disneyland? Like they say you're an actor or a cast member,
A cast member.
and
Cast
you have to
member.
you have to stay in character the entire time. Like even if someone is dying in front of you, you're like, oh no.
Oh boy, Justin Bieber, please
boy.
stop kicking me in the crotch.
Oh gosh.
Oh, my Steamboat Willie.
But there was a guy who got a family who sued Disneyland because a Donald Duck punched their kid in the head.
Let me guess, this was at Paris Disneyland.
They were trying to harvest Donald Duck for his foie gras, and yeah.
Speaking of fancy food like that, did you guys know there is a secret club at Disneyland?
Yes.
It is called Club 33. It's in New Orleans. It's amazing. It costs 30 grand to join. It then costs
Yeah.
between $10,000 and $30,000 every year to remain a member. You go and you have amazing food at this place, and then you get a sweet view of Fantasmic and the rivers of America.
But that's not even why it's exclusive. Isn't it? It's a proper members club. Like you have to be sponsored by an existing member to join, and then you have
Yeah.
to have your membership reviewed by a committee.
Yeah.
Up until you said that, I thought it was like Choral Club. And I was like, oh, we've got Choral Club.
Yeah.
It's fine. It's fine. Just go to the airport.
But
It's
just
cool.
quietly dropping in that you've got Quarter Club, Kenny. Nice.
I don't have Choral Club. I hope one day to be among that gilded company. Like,
I went
that'd be lovely.
on I do the warm up for a television show called 7 Days, and we filmed in Palmerston North, and so we got flown down for that, and everyone else on that show is like gold elite, so they all went, and they were like, "Yeah, come on in, Sam, you come in as well." I was like, "Thank you so much." The nicest food I've ever had in my life.
Please, sir, may I have another?
You can
I'm a
always tell the
humble
people who
commissioner.
skate in on a visitor's pass because we're the ones sitting there with plates piled high with tiny cookies and muffins and miniature croissants and 3 glasses of orange juice and a coffee and a hot chocolate. And everyone else is like, I will have 1 sandwich.
Just go up to the big bowl of cornflakes and fill it with the 2-litre bottle of milk.
Did you guys know that inside the Matterhorn at Disneyland, there is a half basketball court?
Where's the other half?
Did they have
magic trick.
did they have to delete it when they widened the Matterhorn?
No, I think the area is still there to this day. It was just a place where people would go shoot hoops on their breaks.
Isn't everything in Disneyland only built so high? They're built like up to below 200 meters high.
I think
so
200 feet.
They don't have to put 200 feet. So they don't have to put a flashing light on the top.
Yeah.
And probably so it doesn't
true.
go above the castle bit. They probably want the castle bit to be the tallest bit. I'm guessing this isn't a fact.
No, the castle's only 77 feet tall.
Okay.
And I think the
It might
Matterhorn's
also
longer
be-
than 9.
It might also be because of the geology of the area, because I'm pretty sure one of the reasons that the Disneyland car park is so spread out is because they looked at building it higher, but the soil technology, whatever it's called, in that area is kind of shit. So yeah.
Because Disney World is going to sink beneath the ocean. Because Florida is sinking beneath the ocean. So California is probably a little bit better. It'll just drop below the ocean because of earthquakes and not because of massive potholes.
Yeah.
Oh.
But when that happens, my fact will become even more relevant, because my fact is, how many dead bodies are there in the Haunted Mansion?
So people must have died in the Haunted Mansion at some point over 50
Well, so
years.
this dovetails into another fact, which is it's commonly said that no one dies at Disneyland. There's this urban myth that the company doesn't want deaths at Disneyland. So if you die, if you have a heart attack on a ride, they have like an agreement with the ambulance or the first responders not to declare you dead until you leave the park. So you actually die for legal purposes in the car park. It's not true.
Yeah. It's just because doctors have to pronounce you dead, and they just don't have doctors around everywhere. So
yeah, exactly.
That's
But if
right.
you have a heart attack on the Matterhorn and an ambulance officer comes and they can pronounce you dead, they will do that at the Matterhorn. And people have been decapitated at Disneyland before, so
yeah.
Wow.
they have died.
Yeah.
But the answer to the question, how
purpose.
many dead bodies are there in the Haunted Mansion, is that nobody knows, because they reckon about 1 person a month comes to Disneyland and spreads the remains of their loved ones at Disneyland, and the Haunted Mansion, unsurprisingly, is a very popular place to go.
Yeah.
And there is
Normally
a-
ashes, not like bits of the
not
body.
like not disembodied sort of
Yeah.
corpses, but
Lot
there
harder
is a
to sneak
special
in.
there's a special code. If you ever hear people at Disneyland calling for an HVAC, it's because they need the special like industrial grade filter vacuum cleaner to come and dispose of some human remains, and a lot of them get just sort of gently dumped out the side as the carriage is going through the Haunted Mansion.
Just get vacuumed up, which is pretty
Yeah.
cool.
Put into the salt shakers at Club 33. That's what you pay your money for.
Did you know there is an actual human skull on the Pirates of the Caribbean ride?
Ooh.
It's in one of the bed heads of the guy, as there's a skeleton and he's looking at treasure, and it's a real human head, and it looks massive because all the other ones are little.
I was going to say,
Do
so
you-
there's a fake human, there's a fake skeleton being watched over by a real human skull being used as decor by the fake skeleton.
Yes, that's right.
Did you find out why they ended up using skeletons in the first, like, because they originally had skeletons in-
Nazis.
Yeah.
Like
No.
skulls.
But you like they so because this was, I was actually going to have this as my fact until I told Kenny's. They had these real human bones for a long time in the Pirates of the Caribbean ride. Was it the Haunted Mansion ride?
Pirates of the Caribbean.
The reason what Pirates of the Caribbean ride, and the reason was because it was really hard. They couldn't make realistic skeletons, so they're like, well, we can't make realistic skeletons. We don't have the technology at the moment to make realistic skeletons. So
Gonna have
let's
to
go to
start a
UCLA
war.
and let's just go borrow some bodies from UCLA.
We can start the class soon, guys, but Disneyland doesn't close until 10, and then it'll take them about 45 minutes to get here. So everyone all right for an 11 p.m. start? Does that suit everyone? Oh, actually, no, sorry. They've got a special fireworks show tonight, so it might be closer to midnight.
Well, we're getting to about the point where we should probably do some voting on some facts. Just as a reminder, Justin Bieber once got banned from Disneyland for punching Goofy in the crotch.
As a reminder, Tomorrowland, you can eat the plants.
As a reminder, nobody knows how many people's ashes have been scattered at Disneyland at any one time.
As a
Also,
reminder, Tom's a jerk. And also, Hillary Clinton has ended up being Donald Trump in the Disney World, not Disneyland, President's Gallery.
And Nazi
called the Hall of
scientists help make Tomorrowland.
So, wait, what?
Tom, you can't have two facts.
I will have the Nazi scientists.
So on
Your
3,
turn.
point to the person you think had the best fact. 1, 2, 3, go. So to me, Tom's pointing at Jen, Jen's pointing off the screen, Kenny's pointing off the screen.
I'm trying to point
Wait.
to Tom. Is Tom there? Tom is there.
Tom is there on my screen, but I think he might be there on
I think we all pointed at Tom.
Okay.
Yay!
Tom,
Let's
you
go bring
won.
Nazis
Well
into
done,
it.
buddy. Congratulations.
I'd
Nazis
like to
win
thank
again.
Winner von Thom. So if you like what we talked about today, these random and weird facts about Disneyland and hopefully things in the future, like and subscribe, share with your friends, and we'll see you all next week for more fun, more games, and
more random facts.
Yeah, Random was
Random
really
facts.
good.
Random.
Disneyland.